Welcome to Body Efficiency Training, and in this video we're going to be doing a workout for about 20 minutes of 8 different exercises, and this is probably my most important workout so far because these are foundational exercises for this whole body efficiency training. So I'm going to be introducing it, talking about it a bit, and at the same time it's a follow along workout. So this bit is just a warm up. You can copy me if you like or just listen. So I'm not going to talk through the exercises, you can just follow. They're easy ones to do, and I'm just going to talk about body efficiency training. So what is this all about, and what got me started into this? Well, I've been studying this body work my whole life, and I've always been fascinated by chi and body dynamics and how to get the right alignment. There's something interesting about getting your body into the right posture, the correct posture. It's so underrated. It's something that hardly any of us think about, and we don't realize how inefficient it is to be in the incorrect posture. If we can get our posture, our alignment right, everything changes in our life. Everything becomes easier. Every exercise we do, every functional movement we do becomes easier, and we save more energy. That means we have more energy available to us. And it's worse than that, in fact. When we do things incorrectly, we ultimately damage ourselves. When we're bending over, hunching forward, when we lift things up, we're giving slight stretches and injuries to our spine and the muscles around it, and we get aches and pains, cramps, and this leads to all sorts of dis-ease. And when we move, walking up and down the stairs, running along, again, we do this with not the correct posture or the correct functionality, and then we impact the knee too much and we eventually damage ourselves. So it's worse than just being inefficient. It can be quite detrimental. So it's imperative that we work on our posture. It's the most important thing to do in all exercise, is work on our posture. This is the easiest thing to do, and it leads to the greatest results, because the results are across the board. Everything in your life will improve. Every type of exercise you do, every training you do will improve if you concentrate on your correct posture, your form when you do it. And this goes back to traditional martial arts. They're practicing forms, kata, and they're trying to perfect the alignment of their body, their correct posture when they do it. But what we're doing is universal posture. I'm trying to find the most efficient ways of using our body that work in all things, and they work together with the anatomy and the bone structure of our body. We have a very unique, complex bone structure, and we've got to work out how to put those bones in exactly the right place to generate the strength we need, because ultimately if we need power and strength, the best way to generate that is through structure of our bones, and we can be a lot stronger than we think if we get the alignment and the bone structure correct. This is the secrets of internal kung fu and tai chi, the immovable stance, the ability to push someone with just a tiny movement. This is all to do with the alignment of the bone structure. If you get that right, you have a great deal of force with very little effort. But you also need to have mobility. You've got to be able to move around freely. So that requires relaxation, and relaxation is not easy because, again, we're used to holding tension in our body. We don't even know what it feels like anymore. So this training, body efficiency training, is about feeling inside our body. And we've got to feel inside, feel our bone structure, feel our alignment, feel our tension, and feel our relaxation, and ultimately feel our flow, the flow of energy through our body. And this is chi. This is the life force energy. It's a personal, subjective thing. It's not a physical thing, so you can't detect this chi physically, but we can experience it, and that's what this is all about. If we feel inside, we're experiencing the sensations inside our body, and this is the chi, and this is ultimately leads to energy in our body. We can feel a flow of energy and an increase in energy in our body. So this workout, this 20 minutes workout, at the end of this 20 minutes you should have more energy than you started. This is not a workout that tires you out. Body efficiency training is the opposite. It should be a workout that energizes you. You feel like you've got your body moving, you've increased your mobility, you've done some breathing, but you haven't really increased your breath rate or your heart rate. You've generated heat, you've warmed up your body, you've moved the blood around. You see, we want to increase the circulation. That's one of the benefits of exercise altogether, is you move the circulation, you move the blood. But here we're actually doing exercises that activate the circulation. So now we're starting. This is the very first exercise. So you're standing in a bit of a horse horse riding position. Knees are bent, toes are slightly out. You have a bend in the knees and a bend in the hips. So you've got to keep the belly tucked in. There's a slight arch in the spine. So you feel the hips open in the front, but you're also sticking your bottom backwards a little bit, like you're sitting on a chair. So you can feel a movement in the hips. And then you're trying to feel a nice S-curve in the spine as you twist left and right and swing your arms around. So this is the arm swing, the basic arm swing. And this is one of the most universal exercises I always do. And the real focus on this is trying to get the spinal alignment. You've got to feel a nice S-curve in the spine. So you lift up the rib cage, lift up the shoulders, pull the shoulders up and back, open the ribs a bit in front. You've got to tilt your sternum up, and as you twist, you feel the rib cage moving as well. And you've got to pull the belly in, the chi belt. And the chi belt is the TA muscle, the transversus abdominis muscle, that pulls the belly button, the navel to the spine, and the obliques. You pull the obliques in at the side, and you're using the obliques to twist left and right. You've got to keep tension in the waistline, and this tension in the waistline swings you left and right. And there's a little bit of tension in the rib cage and the shoulders to lift them up and back. You don't want the shoulders hanging down too low. You want them up and back, so you feel an arch in the lumbar spine. And then, yes, you twist. You're trying to feel an even stretch through the whole spine as you're twisting left and right. So now, take a breather, and again we're going into a slightly deeper horse riding stance, but just do what you can. This is for all levels, so you just find what you can do. It can be nice and high, not so wide, whatever you feel comfortable doing, and you must always do slowly and carefully, never any pressure. So here's the next one. So now you lift up your shoulders, your rib cage, pull your hands behind your head, interlock the fingers, so they're not on the top, not on the back, they're at an angle at the back of your head, and you pull your elbows back, so you're really opening up the chest, you're lifting up the shoulders and the rib cage, and this is called the spinal twist. So this is exercise number 2. So the sternum is tilted slightly up, you pull in the belly, you've got to counteract that upward stretch by pulling in the belly again and pulling in the obliques either side, and you're still sitting on a chair. You project your bottom slightly back, but you're opening your hips at the front, so you're also squeezing your glutes forward. So there's a strong dynamic tension through your spine. No twist in the knees, you're slightly on towards the ball of the feet, so you feel this even stretch all the way up to your head, and your head is pushing slightly back on your hands, and your elbows are pulling back. And now if you're feeling like it, but don't do this if you don't feel like it, go to a very deep horse riding stance. It requires a bit more mobility, and this is called a square stance. So here I'm getting a really powerful stretch in the hips, a really powerful stretch in the shoulders and the rib cage, and an even and powerful stretch twist through my spine. But it's important that you have the S-curve correct. If your spine is not in its natural S-curve and then you twist, you can injure yourself. Very cautious, very slow, and you're trying to feel inside your spine an even stretch between every single vertebra. Then you're trying to align it up, and then now stand up nice and straight, lock out the legs on the ball of the feet, nice hanging swinging arms, and now back to the arm twist, but just very loose. This is the relaxation, as you're trying to keep that alignment you just worked on, but loosen up the muscles in your spine. You keep the obliques and the belly tight. This prevents you over twisting. You don't want to over twist. Again, very mindful, very slow, very cautious of your spine. This is all about inner awareness. And now here, standing up again, a bit of a power stance, hands on your hips, lock out the knees, you're on the ball of the foot, arch back, lean forward from the hips, and then push your hips forward. So you've got a backward arch, project your hips back, pull in the stomach, and then drive your hips forward, but still pull in the stomach. So you've still got an even stretch. You're trying to hold your spine straight in the S-curve and lever from the hips only. So this is just a mobilizing exercise, leaving forward. I'm calling this cantilever in the hips, beg your pardon. So you're cantilevering the hips, you're pushing the hips back, and you're creating a strong stretch in the back of the hips. At the same time, pulling in the belly, pulling in the obliques, lifting up the rib cage, and a slight arch backwards. So you have a rigid body, rigid legs, you're bouncing on the ball of the feet, and you're just bending at the hip joint itself, pushing the pelvis forward and back, but keeping it at the same tilt. You're not changing the spine. Right, and back now to a horse riding stance like before, and toes pointing slightly out towards the ball of the feet, and we're just warming up now by shifting our weight left and right. So as you shift your weight to one side, you're trying to stretch into that hip. It's like, imagine there's a chair just behind you to the side, and you're trying to lean your bottom towards that chair to sit down. You're bending the knee, and knee goes over the toes, so there's no twist in the knee, and very cautious, no pressure on the knee. You're trying to take the stretch into the hip joint itself and into the ankle. And then we come back here to this a spinal stretch. So you hold the body up, the spine nice and straight, and you lean into one hip and then gradually twist to the side in a sort of warrior pose or a forward stance in martial arts. Very slow, very careful. So you're trying to feel a stretch from the hips. You take your weight into the front hip like you're trying to sit forward onto a chair, but then you twist your back hip round and you're squeezing the glutes. You can feel a powerful stretch in the hips. Then you pull in the belly, lift up the rib cage and twist your spine, trying to pull the elbows back and twist to the side, pushing from the back foot into the front foot. Very slow, very careful. This is a very dynamic exercise, and you've got to do this slowly and carefully. So beginner level, no pressure, just feeling it. This is a bit more advanced. I'm creating a very dynamic stretch, but I'm concentrating on feeling inside and feeling the alignment from the back heel through the back hip, the stretch in both hips, through the lumbar spine, up through the open and stretched rib cage, and up right to the head through the neck. And now loosen up with a nice little circulation and rotation of the hip joint, knee up and out. Nice straight spine, shoulders up and back, keep the belly pulled in. So you're always working on your correct posture. Always improving your posture. So now we're going to do this stance a bit further, and we change the stance a little bit. So we're moving to warrior pose, or this is also a karate stance. So you point one foot forward and the other foot to the side. So you'll know this if you know yoga, warrior pose. This just allows you to turn the hips a bit further, so the hips go square to the side. And again, you lift up the shoulders and elbows behind the head to feel the stretch in the spine, and then keep that where it is and push your hands forward. So this is number 3, pushing the mountain. And now this is a stationary structure, but you're working internally, making micro adjustments. You're trying to feel like you're pushing a mountain, you're pushing something in front, and this is the most optimum position for pushing something. There are others, it's not quite the strongest one, there is a stronger one, but this is the one we're working on because this has vertical spine alignment. So here I'm using the stretch in the elbows to hold the shoulders up and back, and I've got to keep the shoulders up and back, the rib cage up and back as I push my hands forward. So I'm not projecting my shoulders forward, I'm holding them up and back, but I'm stretching my arms forward even though I'm keeping the elbows bent, and I'm flexing the fingers back. Now I pull the belly in and I twist round from the hips and use the obliques to twist the spine. So there is a twist through the spine from the back hip. Now you can also practice actually pushing a mountain, so you push a solid object. But again, you've got to do this slowly and carefully. Advanced level, you can push very hard. But you've got to feel inside your body. You've got to feel that the back heel is pushing the floor. That pushes the hip, that rotates the hip. You squeeze the glutes and sink your weight into the front hip. You're trying to sit on a stool or a chair in the front hip. And then you've got to keep the belly pulled in, keep the obliques tight, so you're twisting the waistline, the chi belt, very important. And then you keep the rib cage up and back and expanded, the shoulders up and back. So this locks the spine out with this upward stretch of the spine is counteracted by pulling the belly in and a powerful strength in the obliques. So the obliques, the chi belt is important. This is the key, the center. In the Tao is called the Dantian. So anyway, that you can practice if you like, or just practice it in the air, very loose, very relaxed. You're not pushing so much as trying to find the alignment of pushing. And then loosen up again with a loose twisting left and right. Again, remember, bouncing in the hips, shoulders up and back. You're working on always the correct posture of your spine, but the elbows and wrists nice and loose, twisting left and right. And then again, back to a horse riding stance, not too deep, and then bring up your hands again to stretch out the spine. Remember, belly pulled in, obliques pulled in, feel a stretch in the hips and a stretch in the front and the back of the hips. Feel the rib cage up and back and the shoulders up and back, and then you move your hands downwards to a fist and pull your hands back to open palm. So this is some iron shirt breathing. It's my version of an iron shirt breathing exercise. So you're concentrating on the inhale as you pull your arms back, exhale as you push your arms forward and squeeze 2 fists. But you're not moving anywhere. You've got to keep the spine stretched up and back. Inhale, open the ribs at the back. Exhale, keep the shoulders up and back, but squeeze the fists and lock the arms. Inhale, you expand. Exhale, you contract. Pull in the belly, pull in the obliques. Squeeze all the air out. So this is an expansion and contraction and breathing. You breathe in, you expand, pull the shoulders up and back, open the ribs. Breathe out. You're still leaning back, arching back, but you squeeze the belly in tight, squeeze the pelvic floor also, keep the tongue touching the roof of the mouth. So you're creating maximum tension throughout your whole body. I'm squeezing the knees, the feet, the ankles, the hips, the glutes, every muscle I'm squeezing on the exhale. But this is advanced and I'm going to a lower stance. Just do this easy at the level you feel. You can do this whole thing very relaxed. Inhale, I look up as well, really stretching the spine. Exhale, I look forward, but I keep the shoulders up and back. So I'm creating a dynamic tension in my torso, squeezing the belly in, squeezing the shoulders down, but also pulling them up. Everything is working in both directions at once. This is what I call dynamic tendon isometrics, and we're going to do videos talking about this in great detail. But this is the secret of moving fluidly with tension in your body, is dynamic tendon isometrics. And this allows you to move fast, freely and powerfully between structures, but it's tricky to do and it requires some explanation. But that little exercise there, iron shirt breathing, is a good start. And now we're moving on to, again, slightly wide horse riding stance, not too wide, as ever's comfortable, and you start by swinging your arms left and right like you're marching along. But here we're going to another arm swing, which is snake arms. So this is the next exercise, and this is probably the best of these arm waving exercises. It's a complete exercise, and it's one of the most fundamental ones that I'm working on at this present moment. I'm trying to improve on this. It's such a good exercise. You're moving the whole spine, you're moving the hips, you're moving the legs, you're moving the shoulders, the elbows and the wrists, and you're even moving the head. You've got a twist left and right, but you've also got a bit of a wave. You're waving the hips, you're swaying in the hips, swaying in the shoulders. You're trying to move the rib cage and wave your arms in a figure of 8 like a snake. And I've done another video on this, and you can see Conor McGregor, a famous MMA fighter, he does this exercise. So he's one of the few fighters that are actually openly doing internal martial arts practices and have taken it into the ring. So whatever you may think of him, he's at least doing these type of exercises and showing that they're useful. And here you can see, or useful in combat rather. And here's a slightly easier version. You're just marching along, swinging the arms forward and backwards. So there's no sway in the hips. You're just pivoting through the spine, twisting left and right. But you're using the twist to lift your arms up and down. So that's an easier, more relaxed version. And you just concentrate on trying to keep the vertical spine, the S-curve in the spine, and come back again to the arm swinging left and right. And again, this is loosening up, trying to feel inside your body, feel an even stretch, an even relaxation, or an even tension. Whatever is there in your body should be even. All the joints work together evenly. And now we're doing another exercise. This is lifting the sky. So this is quite a good unification exercise. We're doing some movement and some breathing, some stretching and some flow. And I've done another whole video on this single exercise doing 21 reps. So you breathe in as your hands come up, you look up, stretch up. Breathe out, your hands go behind your head, keep that stretch, you look down. Breathe in, fingers pointing together, palms up, stretch up, look up, and then breathe out, hands down at the side. And you've got a gentle horse riding stance, so you rise up a bit as your hands go up. Pull in the belly, always pulling the belly, open the ribs. Exhale, you come down, still pulling in the belly, feel a projection in the hips, you're bouncing in the hips. Inhale, you stretch up, exhale, you stretch down, sink down, float down, but a nice straight spine. So again, you keep going. You feel the lumbar arch, but pull the belly in, not too much. Breathe deep into the back of the ribs as the hands go up. Exhale, the hands go down, but feel the stretch. Inhale, open the ribs at the back, feel the stretch through the spine, and exhale, sink down. Tongue always in the roof of the mouth. Inhale, you stretch up, pull up the pelvic floor, open the ribs, stretch up. Exhale, relax a bit, but stretch down, keep the belly pulled in. Inhale, expand the ribs. Exhale, you let the ribs go down, but keep pulling the belly in. So the belly will move, but there's always tension in the chi belt. You've always got to keep slight tension pulling the belly in. Inhale, stretch open the ribs, but keep the belly pulled in. Exhale, open the ribs, feel the stretch, and hands go down. Inhale, palms up, stretch up, look up. Exhale, arms sink down and drop down a little bit. Inhale, feel a strong stretch. You're bringing chi up your body. Exhale, you're pulling the chi down again into your head. Inhale, you're stretching, reaching the sky. And exhale, you're sinking down. The chi goes down into the earth. Trying to feel a nice, even stretch and feel the breath moving through your body as you do it. And now you loosen up again with the arm swing. This is the one you always come back to between every exercise. It just sets your alignment and you feel a flow through your body and motion through your spine. And now here we do another swinging arm swinging. I call this cross-country skiing, but this is a warm-up to a next one. So here you're just swinging your arms forward and back with a little bounce up and down, but the bounce is in the hips, not the knees. No pressure on the knees. You're coming slightly towards the ball of the feet, so you've got the ankle can bounce. So it's the ankle and the hips that work, and you're keeping the spine in the nice S curve. And now you're just waving your hands up and down. And this is number 7, moving through water. And you feel like you're dragging your hands through water. You're underwater, and what you're doing is shrugging up. So you shrug up your shoulders, pull your shoulders back, and then drag your arms up, elbows, and then the wrists, and then the fingers trail. So you're using the lift in the spine. Inhale, hands go up. Exhale, sink down. So you lift the shoulders, pull the shoulders up and back, drags your arm up, then drop the shoulders, drop the elbows, drop the hands, and drop the fingers. Nice straight spine. Pull in the stomach, drag, suck upwards. You're drawing upwards. Exhale, you're floating downwards. Inhale, you're drawing up through water. Feel that resistance to your body, but an even flow. You see, you're flowing from the spine into the shoulders, up to the elbows, wrists, fingers. Look up. Exhale, sink down, look down. Nice S curve in the spine. You sink into the hips. Inhale from the ribs. You see, the expansion of the ribs will help your arms come up. Breathe in, let the breath do the work. Your arms just float and trail like a snake, or like they're moving through water. And then bring your hands to your belly, just settle the energy here. So your thumbs are on the navel, hands a bit below, nice straight spine, shoulders up and back, belly pulled in, twisting left and right. But again, remember, you're sitting on a stool a little bit, so you're not tucking under, but you're still driving your hips a little bit forward, so you've got a dynamic tension in the hips, both in the front and the back. And then we're moving to a gentle position here. Lift up the arms in front. You've got a gentle horse riding stance, not too deep, not too wide. Sink a little bit down. Lift up the shoulders and the rib cage, fingers spread apart, pull the chin in, nice straight head right to the neck, and this is a posture called embracing the tree, very famous in Qigong, but this is my personal way of doing it, which I believe is the most efficient way. We work in the whole structure of the body and a stretch. You see, everything is bent, the knees and the elbows are bent, but there's a stretch. You're feeling like you're stretching. So there's a bend in the knees, but you take the pressure off the knees, it goes to the ankles and the hips. Your hips are stretched in front by letting your knees go apart, but they're stretched at the back like you're trying to sit down on a chair. You squeeze the glutes also, it's because you're trying to open the hips, and then you pull the belly in, so you've got to have tension in the waistline. You pull the belly in, hold the obliques tight, pull the obliques at the side, and now you're also twisting left and right. So you've got a stretch in the spine, so this goes back to the spinal twist, but you're not twisting too far, you're trying to create a dynamic tension. You twist to one side with one oblique, but use the other oblique to resist. So you twist and resist, and you'll feel that you've got a tension through your body, but it feels like a stretch. Lift the shoulders up and back, rib cage up and back, lift the elbows up, stretch the fingers, and twist the little finger towards you a bit, so you can feel a stretch even down your arms. And you pull the chin in and stretch the back of the neck, nice vertical line from the crown of the head down to the sacrum. And then you just settle the energy again by bringing the hands to your belly, thumbs on the navel, hands just below the navel, twisting left and right. Feel your waistline, feel the chi belt, feel inside your chi belt some energy spinning round and round, or you're building up a warmth or a heat or a tension there, and trying to feel that deep inside your belly, inside the pelvis, and inside behind the navel in the intestinal area. And as I said, in the Tao, this is called the Dantian. And now we just stand up nice and tall, nice straight position. This is a dynamic standing. Lock the legs out straight up onto the ball of the foot, clench the buttocks, drive the hips forward, but you're still not tilting under, not tucking under. You've got a lumbar arch, pull the belly in, lift the rib cage up, shoulders up and back, hands hang down. Now we do it with slightly bent knees. You're still on the ball of the foot. It's a dynamic posture. You're just trying to feel the alignment of the spine. You're trying to relax into the correct posture, and you're trying to find the center line of gravity. It feels like you're leaning back more than you're leaning forward. And the trick is, if you fall back, you've got to stick your bottom out a little bit more, and that stops you falling back. But when you stick your bottom out, you've got to pull the belly in, because you don't want to arch back too much. You don't want to arch back too much. It's a delicate balance. Remember, correct posture is really balancing. So these are very important exercises, and they're all very fundamental beginner exercises and master level exercises. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.